Hey there, welcome back to Dr. Bret's office. I'm Bret Manasseh, and it's time to dive back into Dr. Bret's mailbag. I take questions from anybody interested in mental health, whether you're a new counselor, an experienced counselor, or even if you're not a counselor. Anybody who wants to run something by a long-time psychotherapist and university professor like me is welcome. Today we got a question from Emily. She says, "Dear Dr. Bret, I've been counseling for about 3 years now, and I still get uncomfortable when a client starts to cry. I'm a little better with it now than I was, but I'm thinking I should be over it by now. How do experienced counselors handle tears? Do they just let clients cry? If so, for how long?" Well, thanks, Emily. Discomfort with tears is really common. I know it was for me when I was starting out 25 years ago, especially if the client was another dude. I felt, crying, yeah. So you're definitely not alone. I think how a therapist handles tears depends mostly on what the goal of therapy is, and different therapists do very different things to help their clients. Ask yourself, what helps a client the most? Venting their emotions? Figuring out why they're feeling what they're feeling? Learning not to get so emotional in the first place? It's kind of simplistic, but that's really the heart of your question. For example, a cognitive behavioral counselor would want to know whether you're telling yourself something that makes you feel worse than you have to feel. Let's say a client comes in feeling shame and despair. A cognitive counselor might think that those feelings are unreasonably intense because the client is telling themselves something that's not realistic. So, instead of shame and despair, a more reasonable reaction might be embarrassment or sadness. Those feelings are a lot easier for clients to deal with. So for a cognitive counselor, it wouldn't do much good to just let a client sit in their intense feelings when they don't have to feel those feelings at all. A person-centered therapist might think, who am I to tell you that your thoughts are unreasonable? Your feelings are valid, and if something you talk about brings up tears, I won't push you to cry harder. I won't get you to stop crying. I'll just support you while you cry as long as you need to. I got a bunch of other videos on this channel about Rogers' person-centered approach, so I won't go into that one here. But other humanistic experiential therapies, like maybe Gestalt therapy or psychodrama, think that getting in touch with feelings is so important that they set up scenarios for you to act out, sometimes using props and even other people, to provoke you into expressing these feelings even more intensely. On the other hand, a psychodynamic therapist believes that people benefit from gaining psychological insight into why they're feeling so bad, usually things stemming from childhood. So just sitting there and feeling feelings wouldn't help them from a psychodynamic perspective. Existential therapists believe that anxiety, guilt, and despair come when we haven't faced life's big questions. What's the meaning of my existence? Is there a God? Am I embracing my free will? Have I accepted that everything I accomplish will one day be forgotten? Have I accepted that everyone I love will eventually die? Sounds like kind of a cheery therapy, right? But existential therapists believe that facing these big questions frees clients to live their lives to the fullest, and simply venting their feelings wouldn't help, especially. So Emily, there's no one answer for how to deal with tears in a session. Either you support and encourage the tears, or you don't. Now, if you've been counseling for a while and you're still uncomfortable with tears, then maybe you're not a therapist that believes feeling feelings is helpful. Maybe you'd rather help them not feel so bad in the first place. So let's say you want to try a cognitive approach. A client comes into your office and says, "Everybody is sick of me. All I do is bring everybody down. Overgeneralizations like that can bring on unreasonably intense feelings like shame, worthlessness, despair. A cognitive counselor would say something like, wow, that really hurts. These people mean a lot to you. Can I show you how you might be making yourself feel worse than you have to feel? And then they'd go into an exercise or something like, okay, let's list all the people that you think are definitely sick of you. Then let's list all the people you think might be sick of you. Then a list of the people who are probably not sick of you. Your client might come up with one or two people that they think are sick of him, but probably not everybody. Then you look at his thought that all he does is bring people down. You might playfully challenge him. Okay, so literally every minute, 24/7, you're only bringing people down. You never do anything else. Hopefully he smiles and gives you examples of other things that he does that don't bring people down. But here's the payoff. You do that, and then you ask him which thoughts make him feel better. The overgeneralized all-or-nothing thoughts, or the more nuanced, more accurate thoughts that he can back up with evidence. A cognitive counselor can challenge unrealistic thoughts in lots of other ways, but you get the gist. Just letting them cry it out wouldn't be especially helpful in cognitive therapy. Same thing for a behavioral counselor, a solution-focused counselor, a reality therapist. Those approaches take the tears as a sign that something concrete needs to be different in the client's life. Something in their environment needs to change. They need to make different choices so that they can build a life that they envision for themselves where they aren't so sad. A psychodynamic counselor might want the client to gain insight into how their feelings now are being triggered because of sad events from childhood, which is where the sadness is really rooted. Now, again, these are all pretty simplistic descriptions and don't do these different therapies justice. They're just examples of how different approaches wouldn't especially encourage clients to sit in their feelings. But let's say that you do believe clients benefit from feeling their feelings. You just wish that you were better at sitting with them. Well, here's a metaphor that helps me. Tears in a therapy session are like sweat in a workout. If you don't break a sweat when you go to the gym, how good of a workout was it really? People sweat, they grunt, they groan, they make all kind of facial expressions as they exert themselves. And a personal trainer wouldn't try to get you to sweat less or to lift lighter weights or not go that extra lap, right? No, they'd encourage you as you got in your workout. So you can think of tears in a therapy session that way too. Crying can mean that the client is getting in a really good therapy workout, and you can support them and encourage them while they do. At first, you might feel kind of powerless when a client cries, but stay in the moment with them, let them sit in some silence, maybe respond every 20 or 30 seconds just to let them know that you're still there. Something like, oh, that really hurts. Or, oh, you were really feeling her absence right now. Or you just tapped into a great big lump of pain. Something like that. You want to communicate that this is their space to feel their feelings and that they're not alone. Now, avoid trying to cheer them up or make them see the bright side. Avoid offering them a tissue too. That might sound kind of cold, but if you offer a tissue to a client as soon as they get tearful, it's kind of sending the message that you think they should stop, or that you don't think they can tolerate their own feelings, or maybe that you yourself can't tolerate their feelings. Me, I just leave boxes of tissue all around the office in plain sight. Clients will usually reach for one or ask for one if they need it. If they apologize for crying or meekly take just one little tissue, I might say, go ahead, take the box. We got plenty more. If they wipe their face on their sleeve, I let them. On rare occasions, I might say, we've got tissues over there if you need them. but you seem to be doing fine with just your shirt sleeve too. I want to communicate with them that I'm okay with any way that they cry, even if they just let the tears run down their face. How long should I let a client cry? Well, I guess as long as they need to. In my experience, even the most intense crying lasts maybe 5 minutes before it eases up on its own. Sometimes there might be several rounds of tears all throughout the session, but usually just in 3 to 5 minute bursts though. Only a few times has a client cried so long and so hard that they lost control. In those few cases, I stepped in with a deep breathing or a grounding exercise. And in rare cases, a client needed to be hospitalized when they tapped into an emotion like that. But these are really rare. So don't let the fear that these might happen prevent you from holding space for tears the other 99% of the time. So, to wrap up your question, Emily, just decide how you are going to handle tears. Acknowledge them, but help the client not feel so sad. Or sit with them supportively and let them get in a really good workout. Thanks for the question, Emily. I'd love to hear from you now, whether you're a counselor yourself or just somebody who's interested in mental health and the process of healing. Send your questions to DrBretsMailbag at gmail.com. In the meantime, check out other videos on this channel. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave your comments below. And I will see you again soon here in Dr. Bret's office.